You know that device in your pocket, or maybe it's on your desk, or let's be honest, it's probably in your hand right now? It's always calling to you, isn't it? That little buzz, that screen lighting up, the promise of a new message, or just one more video. It's the siren song of our modern world, this constant pull of connection. Today, we're going to dive into why it's so incredibly hard to resist and what it's actually doing to our brains. So, let me just ask you, straight up, how long can you really focus on one single thing without getting sidetracked? And I don't mean how long you think you can. I mean, really. 30 seconds? A minute? 5 minutes? Just keep that number in your head. Because the reality for most of us is, well, it's a little bit shocking. 19 seconds. No, that's not a typo. A study that actually tracked the laptop activity of university students found that the median time they spent on any one piece of content was just 19 seconds. That's barely enough time to even process a paragraph before that little itch starts, the urge to switch tabs, check your phone, click on something, anything else. And there's a name for this constant shuffle. It's called media multitasking. You know exactly what this is. It's when you're jumping between your email, a news article, your social feed, and a chat window all at once. And it feels super productive, right? Like you're a master juggler. But it's actually a trap, a cycle of these tiny, unsatisfying dopamine hits that just keeps us bouncing around, never really landing anywhere. Okay, so how on earth did we get here? Well, we're basically living in a nonstop river of screens. The information just never stops flowing, and our brains are desperately trying to tread water. So let's take a look at how this constant stream is actually rewiring our ability to pay attention. Now, you'd think that people who do this a lot, let's call them heavy media multitaskers, would get really good at it, right? Practice makes perfect. You'd assume they'd be experts at filtering out distractions. But, and this is wild, researchers found the exact opposite is true. The heavy multitaskers are actually worse at ignoring irrelevant information than the light multitaskers. It's this crazy paradox. The more you do it, the worse you get at the very thing you need to do it well, which is focused. So what is happening inside our heads? On a neurological level, what is going on? Why are these little rectangles of glass so powerful at grabbing our attention? Well, the answer is all about how they tap into our brain's most basic, ancient wiring. Just picture this for a second. You're deep in thought, you're focused on a task, and then you hear it. That familiar ping of a notification. Now, even if you don't look at your phone, just the sound itself is enough to completely derail you. Your brain's ancient alert system has basically been hijacked, yanking you out of deep work and putting you into the state of shallow reactive thinking. Your performance on whatever you were doing, it just takes a hit. And hey, this isn't just a feeling. This is backed by solid science. A study from PubMed Central confirmed it. The mere sound of a notification is powerful enough to mess with your cognitive control. It's such a tiny, seemingly harmless interruption, but it has a real, measurable cost to our focus. Yeah, so every time you switch tasks, from writing an email to checking that text and then back again, you're forcing your brain to stop, dump what it was doing, and load up a whole new context. This process cranks up what scientists call cognitive load. Think of your working memory like the RAM on your computer. All this multitasking just overloads it, leaving way fewer resources for the important stuff like deep thinking, problem solving, and actually remembering what you've learned. And this constant cognitive overload, it isn't just some abstract problem going on inside our skulls. It has real, tangible consequences that spill out into pretty much every area of our lives. So now, let's look at the hidden costs. The toll this always-on culture is really taking on us. When people are asked about the downsides of this lifestyle, these are the answers that come up again and again. Does any of this ring a bell? That feeling that you can never truly, fully switch off? The mental burnout that comes with it? That pressure to be available 24/7, all fueled by that fear of missing out, which just completely blurs the line between work and life. And, as we're about to see, it leads to very real health problems. And here is a perfect example of a direct physical cost. This chart shows symptoms of digital eye strain in teenagers, and what's the most common one reported? Headaches. So this isn't just a feeling of being tired or mentally foggy. Our bodies are literally paying the price for all this screen time. The costs are social too. And look, online relationships can feel great, they can feel safe. They often exist in this kind of bubble, free from the messy, complicated demands of real-life interactions. But if we lean on them too much, it can get in the way of developing those deeper, more resilient connections that you can only really get from face-to-face time. And oh man, then there's sleep. The research here is crystal clear. The more time we spend on digital media, the worse we sleep. It's especially true for adolescents. We're talking about going to bed later, sleeping less overall, and just feeling more tired during the day. It's a vicious cycle that just messes with our entire well-being. Okay, so we've painted a pretty grim picture, I know. But here's the good news. We can absolutely fight back. This is not a lost cause. This final section is all about learning the art of disconnecting. And I don't mean as a way to escape, but as a powerful skill to reclaim your own mind. I absolutely love this quote from a Reddit user talking about their digital detox experience. This right here, this is the core idea. It's about a huge mindset shift. It's about going from being a passive consumer, just constantly reacting to whatever our devices throw at us, to becoming an intentional user, someone who is actually in control. So what does that actually look like in practice? Well, it's a concept called intentional disconnection. And no, this is not about chucking your phone in a river. It's about making conscious, deliberate choices about when you plug in and why you're doing it. It's an active practice, a choice, not just hiding from the world. The Myers-Briggs company actually boiled this down to 3 really simple principles. First, you have to actually switch off, both physically and mentally. Second, you've got to set boundaries with your tech, with yourself, and with other people about when you're available and when you're not. And third, you have to consider and communicate those boundaries so everyone's on the same page. And look at this, there's a whole ecosystem of strategies that people are using. It's everything from the super simple stuff, like just turning off your notifications, to bigger changes, like setting those firm boundaries or finding hobbies that are so absorbing you forget to even look at your phone. The main takeaway here is that there's no one-size-fits-all fix. It's about finding what works for you. And that really brings us to the most important point of all of this. The goal here is not to become a hermit or avoid technology altogether. It's to finally recognize that your attention is your single most valuable resource. It's about building habits that protect that focus instead of just letting it get chopped up and sold to the highest bidder. So I want to leave you with this one last question to chew on. Resisting that Siren song isn't about some huge, heroic act of willpower. It's about small, consistent choices day in and day out. So what is one small, intentional change you could make, starting today, to take back a little bit of that control and decide for yourself what truly deserves your attention?